Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Rolka. Thank you for checking out my video. This is the second video in a series on agility. I am approaching the concept of agility in singing from the idea of balance. We're looking for balance between subglottic air pressure and vocal fold adduction. In English, that's airflow and vocal fold, vocal cord, if you like, closure. When those things are working nice and efficiently, then we can go fast and be agile. But in truth, it impacts just about every other aspect of your singing in a positive way too. These are some of the best agility balance exercises that I know of. And I think this is the first video that I have ever done where they are collected in this way. So I do hope that you enjoy, and I do hope that helps. I don't really talk in these videos very much, though I talk a little bit with these because there's a bit more explanation required. So thank you if you've chosen to subscribe. I really appreciate it. A big thank you to my Patreon supporters. I really appreciate your support. It really helps me keep going with the channel. And of course, those of you who have recently become YouTube members and support me in that way, thank you. I really appreciate it. We're going to begin with a short note, short breath exercise. The idea here is to maintain your expansion and engagement. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I mention that, go over to video 1 from this series and check that out. Maintain your expansion and engagement. Only replace with the short breath what you use. We're going to start at a modest range. This should be pretty comfortable for mezzos and sopranos, and I'm going to play in 2 hands, so that'll make it easier too, but you can always descend. Do feel free to switch octaves as necessary to stay in a comfortable range. That goes throughout this video. So whenever it gets too high or too low, just switch an octave. But for right now, it sounds like this. And we're going to kind of carry on that way. For those of you that wish to follow along, you can do so now. And so I got kind of carried away and kept singing throughout all of that. Let's do it again. This time I'm going to lay out. Notice, however, how metronomic the pattern is. The notes are quarter notes, but we are filling in the eighth notes with the breath. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, ready, and. The next pattern is very similar, except it is a triplet, and your breath happens on the 3rd eighth note of the triplet. It sounds like this. And so on and so forth. For those of you that wish to follow along, you can do so there. And All right. 16th notes. Your breath happens on the 4th 16th note of the pattern. Again, we're trying to maintain our expansion and engagement. This is not just a singular exercise, it's a practice. So coming back to this frequently will absolutely reinforce the practice in your practice. This one sounds like this. And so on and so forth. You should really start to feel it in your expansion. I certainly do. And all right. The next exercise is, in my opinion, one of the best exercises for the overall health and sustainability and getting the most out of your voice kind of voice exercise. But it's extremely good for balance and therefore very, very good for agility. We're going to start slow. We'll do a few repetitions of this and go a little bit faster, but we're not going to go crazy today in this video. There's no long period for a breath in this exercise. The idea is to tie from key to key to key together, using just the short breaths to make sure that you're getting enough for the phrases that you have to sing and a little bit extra for the long phrase, knowing that you're going to then turn around into the next key. It sounds like this. And so on and so forth. There's no pause to take a breath. You've got to plan ahead on the short breaths. And a little faster now. And so on and so forth. Tell you what, let's do a and ah as well. So here we do still do the short notes with he, but then you switch to a and ah for the melismatic phrase. It'll sound like this. And so on and so forth. And there you go. As always, I hope that helps. My name is Jeff. Thank you if you have chosen to subscribe. A big thank you to my Patreon supporters. That's picture in picture. To my Patreon supporters, I really appreciate your support. I'm going to leave that little blooper in there. And a big thank you to the folks who have decided to become members here on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate all the support. It really helps me keep going, keeps the channel running, so on and so forth, and I appreciate it. Thank you. These exercises are cumulative. So when I started the fundamentals series earlier this year, I had an idea about what I wanted to do, but what it's turned into is this big, long string of cumulative practices, each one of which builds on the next. So next week, we're going to get into even more balancing exercises and more fast patterns and things like that. And it's going to get real by the time we get to the end of this month of agility that we're doing. So stick around. I hope that you will. Until next time, take really good care of your voices, enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye.